1140
on Sactown Sports.
916-339-1140, taking you up to 2 p.m. And this is what Sam Quinn of CBS had to say. We have some sound that we're going to get to from Shams as far as the coaching situation with the Knicks and whether or not they're going to be able to get their guy. When I saw what Shams said, though, it did more so make me feel like the organizations do have the control. And, I think it becomes – I think the Mavs situation versus the Rockets and certain other teams is just different because if Jason Kidd could say, hey, I thought I was coaching Luka and now he's gone. There's a bunch of drama. But an Ime Udoka or Chris Finch, based on how their seasons ended, it's a bit harder for them to say, hey, it's not as if, hey, this is a bigger market, so help me out here. No, you're all getting paid millions of dollars, so we don't have to help you out. You signed the contract here, and you're going to honor it. So it comes off more like the Mavs is just a situation where the Mavs organization might not have as much control rather than just organizations in general not having that much control. So we're going to play that for you in about 10 minutes here. But Sam Quinn said this, all right, coming off of the report from Grant Afseth yesterday that we talked about kind of in detail and at length. Sam Quinn said, as a rule, and this is about Trae Young, as a rule, I tend to believe that if you can get your hands on Sacramento picks, you usually should, which is fairly disrespectful, but we'll continue. It's not that he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong.
Sam Quinn also has been not a fan of the Kings in the past.
But, I mean, he is not wrong, right? Let's just call a spade a spade. He is not wrong. So he says that. Then he goes on to say, if I'm Atlanta and the Kings are offering me some combination of Keegan, Ellis, and their picks for Trae, right before I have to negotiate an extension with him, I'm listening. Now, whether or not the Kings continue their conversations with Trae or Darius Garland, where I want to take this is who has the most value on the Kings right now, and we can eliminate majority of the Kings and really boil this down to who has more value if you are a team looking to do business with the Kings. Is it Keegan Murray or is it Keon Ellis?
I think the bar we're saying is who's the second most valuable player on the Kings, right? Because we all agree it's Domantas Sabonis number one.
I do think that that is the correct answer, but because of money and things like that, and Domantas is in a different situation.
Yes, and they don't want to trade him,
yes,
of course.
As of today, we think.
So let's just do a little thought exercise that I think will help answer the question. Because obviously he's a restricted free agent if they decline the team option. Mm-hmm. What would you offer Keon Ellis as like an extension? If like he were a free agent tomorrow, you had to pay market rate, it's not a restricted free agency thing where they can limit what he gets. What would you give Keon Ellis as a contract offer?
I believe, well, when we did that report a couple months ago, it came out that Keon's value was somewhere, it came off, what was it, about $14 million a year?
Oh, the underrated player?
Yes, it was about $14 million a year. And that's kind of a limited Keon who was in the doghouse earlier in the season. So I would say Keon is a little under, I would say personally Keon is a little under 20 a year. I would say about 18 mil a year or something like that.
Okay, so like 4 years, 72 is what you would offer, projecting that he will get better over the life of that contract. So if it's 4 for 72 for Keon, what are you offering Keegan Murray as a contract extension? Because we talked about this one more at length. He's probably going to be somewhere in that 20 to 25 range, but more specifically, you, Allen Stiles, what would you offer Keegan Murray?
Yeah, from what we had discussed, and not, to bring up the Trey Murphys of the world and guys like that, I think it was, if I'm remembering correctly, we had said about a shade under 25. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think we had it at like he was going to get $100 million, but it was either going to be like a 4-year deal or a 5-year deal or something like that. Yeah.
By the way, just because of their timelines, people might not necessarily understand the age differences. Keegan Murray is younger than Keon Ellis, by the way.
Yeah.
Keegan Murray turns 25 in August, okay? Keon turned 25 in January. Just so people are aware, because Keon came in a little later, even in my mind, I'm thinking, is he younger? No, he's actually not.
Yeah, so I think the way we're headed towards it is that Keegan is a slightly more valuable player than Keon Ellis right now. If you had to offer both of them contract extensions today, I think Keegan Murray's getting a longer and more lucrative contract extension than Keon Ellis. It's not by a lot, but I think talking it out, we probably agree that Keegan is slightly more valuable than Keon Ellis. Now, it might be depressing to say those are your 2 and 3rd most valuable pieces if you're the Sacramento Kings.
Not once we hear from Austin Rivers. You might actually feel better about the Kings. And I'm look, remember that 916 from yesterday? Positive Allen is here today.
Optimistic Allen.
Optimistic Allen's back.
I'm scrolling to our list of types of Kings fans. Not unrealistic, delusional, self-loathing, nihilistic, anarchist, apathetic, down bad, blissful, nostalgic for 2002, just happy to be here, skeptically hopeful, dead inside. We're winning 40 games this year. Doom and gloom. De'Aaron Fox was right. Sell the team, masochist, or that local guy, Drew.
Optimistic today.
You're that. Okay. You're not any of those other things.
So I think the bigger thing, no pun intended, is I would say Keegan's position is why, number one, he's younger. And number two, I like Keon a lot, but he is hardly a wing. And we've seen him Keegan, we've seen him guard point guards, and we've seen him guard 4s. We've even seen him guard 5s, even though he shouldn't be doing that. Keon can't do that.
You know, Brennan Nunez, I think this was back near the end of the season, had a really insightful point on Keon that's just stuck with me for months and months. It was when he was on with Dave, and Dave asked, if Keon Ellis had been a first-round pick, would we be starting him? And this was the Keon versus Malik Monk thing.
Right.
And Brennan made the point, I think if Keon Ellis had better ability to play make and dribble moves and a more versatile defensive skill set where he could guard 1s or guard 3s, he's very specifically good at defensive spacing and guarding 2s. He's like, if he had ball handling abilities and the ability to guard multiple positions at a better clip, not getting, they put him on Jalen Brunson and Jalen Brunson cooks, or they put him on James Harden and James Harden cooks him. He said if he had those abilities, I think he would have been a first round pick.
Right.
So I think he's kind of making the point of like, it's great that he's a found money guy and we didn't expect this from his career, but there are still limitations in his game that we don't acknowledge as much because we're just happy that he is as good as he is and as valuable as he is.
Right. The answer is Keegan Murray, and it should be Keegan Murray based on all the things we just said. He's a 4th overall pick. Keon, undrafted, trying to grind out of the G League. I think it's just a testament to Keon that we're even having this conversation and that it's as close as it is. And to Kyle's point, kind of says something about where the Kings are as far as their young talent. But we're optimistic today. So we're just going to say, hey, at least we got 2 of them guys. And this is where the league is trending, right? So quick decisions, 3-point shooters, and can defend at a high level. When we return, we hear from Shams on the coaching carousel. Also, is the NBA missing the struggle? Draymond Green says yes. Sound Style, Sactown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
This is the story of the one.